Nikola Jokic is currently sitting at number 1 on NBA.com's MVP ladder, displaying a unique skill set built around his scoring and playmaking and leading the Nuggets to a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. But just how good is Nikola Jokic? Does his defense hurt his team more than help? And does he have the tools to become the greatest offensive big man of all time? Jokic is far from the traditional center, often playing like a 7-foot point guard, and this is because of how good he is as a playmaker. Jokic is a master with the ball in his hands, being able to manipulate defenses in ways that only a few players could, allowing him to create easy opportunities for the players around him. He has a very strong handle, rarely ever turning over the ball, and this allows him to be a floor general, manning the offense despite being the big man, and his size allows him to see over the defense and gives him passing angles that most guards wouldn't be able to obtain. He uses a lot of head fakes to throw defenders off and utilizes the no-look pass to freeze defenders, and this leads to wide open shots for the Nuggets. In the half court, Jokic primarily plays out of the post, and with his back to the basket, he's able to control the offense, finding cutters all over the court, needing only minimal space to get these passes off, and hitting shooters right in the pocket for easy three-pointers. A lot of these three-pointers are created from his skip passing, being able to find the tiniest room for passes and firing fastballs right into the shooter's hands. He can also facilitate out of the pick and roll, being extremely talented at dumping bounce passes to the roll man for easy looks around the rim. On top of this, he's a very talented off-ball player and can create good looks off of his touch passing and screen setting, often getting the ball as the roll man and quickly swinging it across the court, basically displaying every last ability that a historic playmaker would. In transition, while Jokic isn't the quickest on his feet, he more than makes up for it with his vision and arm strength, being able to fire passes into tight holes on fast break opportunities and being one of the best outlet passers the game has ever seen. Most outlet passers secure the rebound and take a second to assess the defense and find teammates leaking on the fast break, but this just isn't the case with Jokic, knowing where his teammates are at all times and rarely ever missing these opportunities, hitting them in stride for easy transition points. All of this leads to Jokic posting some of the best playmaking metrics in NBA history, having a 15.1 box creation, placing in the 98.7 percentile, and ranking first among bigs in NBA history. A 9.4 passer rating places him in the 99.5 percentile, only below Draymond Green. This mix of creation and efficient passing gives him a 2.6 playmaking value, ranking first in the entire NBA and second in NBA history, only behind 2007 Steve Nash. On top of this, Jokic is averaging 8.9 assists per 75 possessions with just 3.1 turnovers, so no matter what you're looking at, it becomes pretty clear just how good of a playmaker Jokic is and that he is the best playmaking big man of all time. What takes Jokic to another level offensively is his ability to score on top of this playmaking ability. Jokic is currently 4th in the league in post-ups per game with 9.3 and converts on those post-ups 59.2% of the time, an unheard of level of volume and efficiency out of the post. Most of this post prowess comes from his craftiness as a scorer, being able to flip shots from all angles and rarely ever getting blocked, but what leads to such good looks is how scared opposing teams are of his playmaking, leaving Jokic in one-on-one situations and there's really nobody in the league that can guard him. He pairs crafty finishing with a nice post fade and post hook, showing soft touch on those and leading to a very nice scoring arsenal out of the post. Most of Jokic's field goals come from the 3 to 10 foot range, just outside of the paint, utilizing fakes and spins to get better angles near the rim, and using his size to body up opponents and create separation. Jokic adds another level of versatility with his amazing outside shooting, putting up 51% from the mid-range and just under 43% from 3 to be exact. While outside shooting has been extremely inflated this season, this mid-range game isn't something that just came out of nowhere. In 2019, Jokic shot 44.3% and in 2020, 46.6%. Throughout his career, he has shown steady increases as a shooter, and this year more of the same. While the 51% might just be a little high, there's no denying how much Jokic has improved his outside shot, and the 5% increase in his free throw shooting further backs up this improvement from the mid-range. The three-point shot is a different story though. In 2018 he shot almost 40%, followed by 2 seasons in the low 30s, and has spiked back up to 43%. And while I do think Jokic has clearly improved as a shooter, looking more comfortable and willing to attempt these shots, a near 12% increase does seem extremely unlikely. This could partly be due to his improvement as a pick and pop player though. He has gotten better at landing these screens and quickly popping out, and this is how most of his threes are created. just under 99% of his threes being assisted on. So for now, I'm willing to say that Jokic has clearly elevated his outside game, adding another level of scoring versatility, but there's no way to know for sure until fans are back and the league is back to normal. Another component in Jokic's scoring is how good he is at making tough shots. Whether it's in the paint or from the mid-range, Jokic is an excellent difficult shot maker, often going off one leg to throw defenders off or scooping shots through tight coverage, and this directly correlates to his postseason scoring, which has been outstanding through his first 2 playoffs and will likely get even better this year. Now we can look at Jokic's scoring production, averaging 28.1 points per 75 on 65 true shooting percentage, 2 marks that place him above the 93rd percentile among all players. This directly leads to him having a 2.1 scoring value, placing in the 99th percentile. Jokic also creates a lot of offense from his offensive rebounding, ranking 10th in the league in offensive rebounds per game, and this sets him up nicely for putbacks and easy looks around the rim, finishing just under 75% inside the paint. This level of offensive rebounding and scoring, on top of his playmaking and off-ball game, lead to Jokic being one of the best offensive engines ever. With Jokic on the floor, the Nuggets have a 122.5 offensive rating, or a plus 10.5 offense, being the best offense in NBA history. With Jokic off the floor, they're a negative 4.5 offense, or the 26th best offense in the NBA today. This leads to Jokic having historic offensive impact metrics, having a 5.8 backpicks offensive box plus minus and 9.3 offensive raptor, both ranking first in the NBA. A 5.3 ORPM falls in the 98.5 percentile, and a 5.86 O LeBron lands him in the 99.6 percentile. In other words, Jokic is one of the most, if not the most, impactful offensive player in the entire NBA. On the defensive end, Jokic has shown some glimpses of positive impact. He's a very smart defender, has good instincts and is able to read passing lanes well, which leads to a decent amount of steals. He's able to use his large size and frame against post players and give them a hard time. But outside of that, Jokic bleeds value. He isn't mobile at all and often gets exploited in pick and roll situations, unable to keep up with guards, but also slow on the recovery, leading to a lot of open shots at the rim. This is one of the reasons why the Nuggets have the second worst paint defense in the NBA, but another is Jokic's lack of rim protection. His ability to affect shots at the rim is very limited because of his lack of verticality when approaching these shots, and Jokic rarely ever leaves the ground in these situations, trying to bait for a steal instead. It's pretty clear why teams are able to score so effectively inside the paint against Denver. Another problem with Jokic defensively is his lateral quickness. Usually one crossover is enough to get around him, and instead of even attempting to stop this a lot of the time, he just swipes at the ball and hopes to poke it out so they can run the break. While he has his issues on the defensive end, his mind, length, and size generally make up for it and make him around neutral on defense rather than a clear negative. Let's take a look at Jokic's defensive stats, currently averaging 1.7 steals and 0.7 blocks per 75 possessions, placing in the 89.8 and 63.7 percentiles. He has a negative 0.3 DRPM, 45.1 percentile, a 0.32 D LeBron, falling in the 70.7 percentile, a 0.9 D Raptor in the 68.1 percentile, and a 3.4 backpicks defensive box plus minus. Overall, most metrics place Jokic just around the neutral range, both on the negative and positive side, showing that while he's not a great defender, he doesn't bleed lots of value on that end either. Now we can look at Jokic's overall impact as a player, starting with the raw on-off. The Nuggets have a 7.37 net rating, or play at a 61-21 pace with Jokic on the floor, and have a negative 1.3 net rating, or play at a 37-45 pace with him off the floor, showing great impact in the on-off data. As for the impact metrics, Jokic has a 9.2 backpicks box plus minus, not just ranking first in the NBA, but in all of NBA history. He also ranks first in LeBron with a 6.18, first in Raptor with a 10.2, and a 5.0 RPM falls in the 97.7 percentile. Overall, most metrics agree, Jokic being arguably the most impactful player in the entire NBA, and if not, definitely near the very top. Jokic is scoring at an extremely high level while having one of the best playmaking seasons in NBA history. He's an all-time offensive engine, but doesn't add much value on the defensive end, lacking rim protection, but showing smart instincts. He's very easily an MVP caliber player and has the potential to be the greatest offensive big man the game has ever seen. And that's it for the Nikola Jokic in-depth analysis. Make sure to subscribe and turn my post notifications on if you enjoyed the video. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram at TheHoopVenue and Twitter at KGsGoat, and subscribe to my second YouTube channel HV to keep up with my other content. You can find those links in the description. If you want to become a YouTube member and gain access to tons of cool new perks, that link will be in the description as well. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you agree and disagree with in this video, or what your future predictions for Jokic are. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.